Ever open your phone to check one quick notification, maybe a text or a reminder, and suddenly it's 2 hours later? Your neck hurts, your eyes feel tired, and you're deep in a heated comment section about a random online drama you didn't even care about 5 minutes ago? You snap out of it, look at the clock, and immediately feel a wave of frustration. You think, why do I keep doing this? I have no self-control. My attention span is completely ruined. Here's the first thing you need to understand. You are not lazy, and your brain isn't broken. When you slide your phone out of your pocket, you aren't just opening an app. You are stepping into a digital space where your single human brain is matched against a multi-billion-dollar psychological design. On the other side of that screen are thousands of software engineers, behavioral experts, and data scientists whose entire job is to keep your eyes fixed on the screen for just one more second. They understand human biology. They study behavioral triggers and psychological vulnerabilities to build a digital experience designed to keep you scrolling. But once you understand exactly how the mechanism works, it loses its power over you. Today, we're going to break down the 5 deep psychological reasons why you stay hooked and give you a clear strategy to outsmart the algorithm and take your mind back. Reason 1, the slot machine effect, variable reward schedule. Let's look at the physical motion of scrolling. Think about the gesture you use on almost every app. You pull down with your thumb, release, and wait for the screen to refresh. That physical mechanism is identical to a casino slot machine. You pull the lever, the reels spin, and you wait to see if you win. In behavioral psychology, this is known as a variable reward schedule. To understand why this is so effective, we can look at classic behavioral experiments involving rewards. Fixed reward. If a subject presses a button and gets a reward every single time, they learn the pattern quickly. They press it when they need it and walk away when they are satisfied. They don't obsess over it. Variable reward. If the reward is completely random, everything changes. Sometimes the subject gets nothing. Sometimes they get a tiny reward. And sometimes, completely unpredictably, they get a massive jackpot. Under a variable schedule, the subject becomes completely focused on the action. They will press the button over and over again because the brain is highly stimulated by the unpredictability. Your phone works exactly like this. Your brain isn't necessarily addicted to the specific content you are viewing. It is stimulated by the uncertainty of what comes next. If every single video on your feed was exactly what you wanted to see, you would eventually hit a point of sensory fatigue and close the app. The algorithm spaces things out intentionally. You scroll through 2 boring videos, 1 average post, and then, boom, a hilarious meme or an incredibly interesting piece of news that gives you a massive spike of curiosity or amusement. Because you cannot predict when that next good post is coming, your brain prompts you to keep swiping. Just one more scroll. Reason 2, the seeking circuit versus the satisfaction switch. To understand why this unpredictability works so well, we have to look at a massive misconception about a key brain chemical, dopamine. Most people think dopamine is a chemical of pleasure, that it gets released after you get what you want. But neuroscience shows that dopamine is actually the chemical of anticipation. It is the molecule of exploration and pursuit. In your brain, you have what neuroscientists call the seeking system. This is an ancient evolutionary circuit driven by dopamine. Its job is to motivate you to explore, gather information, and look for novelty. For our ancestors, this system fired when they were tracking paths, looking for resources, or searching for new territory. It kept them moving and learning. However, there's a completely separate system in the brain that handles satisfaction, fulfillment, and the feeling of enough. This is a switch that flips and says, we found what we needed. We can stop looking now. The infinite scroll is unique because it detaches the seeking circuit from the satisfaction switch. Because social media feeds have no bottom, there is no end of the page, no natural chapter break, no the end screen. Your seeking system stays permanently active. You are hunting for information, hunting for novelty, hunting for the next laugh. Because the feed never stops providing brand new microstimuli, you never hit a natural stop sign. Your brain stays stuck in a loop of wanting the next piece of information without ever reaching the threshold that says, you have had enough. Reason 3, dissociation and the 90-second vulnerability window. Now, let's talk about the emotional trigger. When do you actually pick up your phone? Very rarely do we consciously decide, I am now going to sit down and scroll through short-form videos for exactly 45 minutes. Instead, it happens automatically. You sit down to do a difficult homework assignment or face a moment of quiet, and within a fraction of a second, your phone is already in your hand. You might not even remember picking it up. What just happened? You hit what psychologists call a vulnerability window. Whenever we face a minor psychological hurdle, boredom, loneliness, an anxious thought about a test, or the mental friction of starting a hard task, our brains experience an uncomfortable internal spike of mild stress or discomfort. Research shows that if you can sit with minor uncomfortable emotion for just about 90 seconds, the internal signal will peak and begin to fade naturally. But sitting with boredom or friction is challenging. And because your smartphone is always right next to you, it offers an immediate, frictionless escape hatch. The moment that internal friction spikes, you reach for the phone to dissociate. The rhythmic, low-effort motion of your thumb moving up and down the glass acts as a distraction. You aren't scrolling because you genuinely want to see that specific content. You are scrolling to step away from the present moment. The phone fills a quiet space, so you don't have to deal with the immediate boredom or task friction. Reason 4. Open loops and the Zygarnik effect. Have you ever wondered why cliffhangers are so effective, or why you find yourself reading through dozens of comments just to find out the conclusion of a story? This is due to a psychological phenomenon called the Zygarnik effect. In the early 20th century, psychologists noticed a fascinating pattern. People remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks much better than completed ones. The human brain experiences a form of cognitive tension when a story, a task, or a concept is left unfinished. We call these open loops. Your brain will actively expend mental energy trying to close that loop to find a resolution. Social media feeds are structurally designed to be an endless factory of open loops. Every time you scroll, you see a video headline that says, I tried this for 30 days and here's what happened. Open loop. Before that video even fully explains itself, you might slide to the next one, which shows a dramatic situation halfway through open loop. Then you see a clip of a movie, but you don't know the title, open loop. Because you are moving quickly through hundreds of pieces of fragmented information, you are constantly opening new cognitive loops without ever giving your brain the chance to close them. When you finally turn off your phone, your brain doesn't feel relaxed. It feels restless and mentally cluttered because it is holding on to a dozen unfinished narratives all at once. Reason 5. Evolution's trap, the threat monitoring reflex. The final reason connects directly to ancient human survival instincts. It explains why we get caught in what is known as doomscrolling, spending a long time reading about negative news, dramatic arguments, or chaotic world events. Throughout human history, survival required paying close attention to potential hazards. In an ancestral environment, noticing a threat or a danger was a matter of life or death. Because of this, humans evolved a natural negativity bias. Our brains are hardwired to prioritize potential threats or high-stakes information over completely peaceful or neutral information. We are wired to monitor our environment for things that seem urgent or alarming. Modern algorithms align perfectly with this ancient survival reflex. The system prioritizes high-engagement content. And what drives engagement faster than almost anything else? Drama, intense debates, and shocking news. When a post containing high-intensity conflict flashes on your screen, your brain's threat detection system flags it as important data. Your brain reacts as if it needs to know everything about the situation to understand the environment. You aren't doom-scrolling because you enjoy the stress. You are doing it because an evolutionary survival reflex is being triggered by a modern digital feed. Conclusion: how to take your mind back. You cannot fight highly engineered software with pure willpower alone. You have to change your digital environment. Here is a simple 3-step blueprint to take your focus back. Go grayscale. Bright, vibrant notification colors are intentionally chosen to draw your eye and trigger your seeking circuit. Go into your phone's accessibility settings and turn your screen to grayscale black and white. Instantly, the visual pull of the apps drops significantly. The 90-second rule. The next time you feel the automatic urge to open a social app while studying or during a quiet moment, pause. Recognize the boredom or friction. Tell yourself, I just have to sit with this for 90 seconds. Once that initial urge peaks and passes, your natural focus will return. Create a clear endpoint. Never close an app mid-scroll, leaving your brain hanging on an open loop. If you want to stop, intentionally navigate to a static screen, like your phone calendar or a blank notes app, and close your phone from there. Give your brain a clear, visual stop sign. The algorithm works by using predictable human psychology. Once you recognize these 5 traps, you can take control of your time, your focus, and your mind.